Get ready to put your happy faces on whilst you listening to The Grumble from musterxmedia, a place you can be happy whilst being a miserable bastard. If you're easily offended, this podcast is not for you, but if you're not, enjoy! What can I say today? Well, another person in the media dead. A 27-year-old girl, mother to one, single mother to one, let down by the government. Another failure of the system because everyone's so, how can I put it? The fucking lurgy killed her. The lurgy killed her because it didn't actually kill her. The cure is definitely worse than the fucking disease. So, because the pandemic, she couldn't go out and earn any work. She had struggled to get her kid looked after, and her job was gone. It was gone. Okay? The DWP kept miscalculating shit. If you're from a different country, DWP means Department for Work and Pensions. They kept miscalculating her. 28 failures was recorded at the inquest. 28 failures by these fucking dickhead civil servants who don't know their arsehole from their earhole, who don't have any common fucking sense. She had no money to live on. And I can hear the lefties out there, oh, that's Tory Britain. Well, I'm sorry, but the system was already fucking broken. But long before the Tories took over. It was systematically fucking broken. And as they bring in different systems, it's still lefties who run these organisations. Even though the top cheeses, the big cheeses of these organisations are Tory ministers, most of the civil servants are lefties. So anyone that says, oh, it's Tory Britain is a fucking dickhead. I'm sorry, but most people who work as civil servants are lefties who don't know their arsehole from their fucking earhole. And they kept reducing her payment down and down and down. So she couldn't even eat. And to stop the pain of hunger, she took an overdose and died 2 months later in a coma. She was in hospital in a coma. And she died on her own in a hospital in a coma. No one there. No one there because of Corona. It's disgusting. There have been more people that have died directly of Kung Flu because they killed themselves than actually dying of Kung Flu. Now at this moment, at this precise moment of recording, the government have recorded 100,000 deaths from coronavirus with an asterisk on it, yeah? And I say that, this asterisk, because the small print is they died with coronavirus in their system from 28 days of catching it, which means they could have had a heart attack. No, it was Corona. They could have been hit by a bus. No, it was Corona. They could have jumped in front of a fucking train. No, it's Corona. So, I think the stats, the actual stat of people that died directly from Corona, that was under the age of 65, no underlying health conditions, is just over 400. Just over 400. Everyone else died from another health condition whilst having Corona. And those stats are there for everyone to look at on the government's website themselves, on a YouGov website. And you've got the shit stains in the media who leave these stories out. The legacy media just love to leave out these statistics because it doesn't fit their narrative of scaring the shit out of people. And yet we have another kid dead, another kid growing up without his mother or her mother. They kept the identity of the child secret for obvious reasons. Another kid without their mother because of Corona. It really astounds me, it really does, how this world is just starting to fall apart. And if it wasn't the fact that Corona is helping destroy this world, but we see it all the time, from leftards fucking eating each other up to them physically attacking the right, mentally abusing the right, and then calling anyone that's not following their ethos, calling them and doxing them and labelling them as white supremacists. It's disgusting. It really is. We've just had Joseph Pisspants Biden take over the United States, and that stupid old bastard, with the wave of his pen, he put 80,000 people out of work on the stroke of a signature, like that. So all these people going hungry now going on welfare because he had a stroke of his pen, and this was over a pipeline. So more misery because he had to pander. The President of the United States had to pander to the people who funded his election campaign. Now, if you tell me that's not broken, then you need to fucking get your head examined. Politicians should not be doing it for the interests of their donors. They should be in it for the interests of the people they serve. Doesn't matter who's in charge. Doesn't matter if it's Trump or Biden. They should not. Doesn't matter what country you're in. I say Biden and Trump because that's the most recent election. I could turn around and say Tories and Labour. Corbyn v Boris. Doesn't matter who's in charge. What matters is you should not be taking in and dealing with the interests of your funders over the people who you represent. Not one bit. And Joseph Pisspants Biden, the big old potato head himself, cancelled 80,000 workers' jobs because of green technology. I'm not saying that he shouldn't be allowing green technology. I'm saying that he should allow green technology. And my point on this is, before you get green technology, you need to bridge the old technology before the green takes over. You need to bridge it. You need to keep the workforce fed and fueled on the cheap whilst you're building the infrastructure of the future. And yet that stupid old potato head just wiped it out. Petrol prices have already started to raise in price in America, and they will soon follow suit over in the UK because of this. And why is that? Because the pipeline that they were trying to build to keep them reliant on the whole of the Americas fuel reserves rather than importing it in from the Middle East. So everywhere from Alaska through to Canada and the USA, and then that would have kept their fuel costs down, which meant that the Arab world would keep their fuel costs down to import it to us to make up for the shortfall. And Biden is going to fuck that for everyone because he had to pander to his Green New Deal cronies. These people who don't give a fuck about the planet, they just give a fuck about profit. And that's all it's about. So now you got the workforce that's left of it on expensive fuel, which means fuel prices go up, which means food goes up. Fuel prices go up, everything goes up. And these green technologies that they want to do is brilliant. It's great technology when it's established. So you need to be able to bridge it together so the new can take over from the old. No, it just doesn't work like that with politics. It's whoever funds the old bastards gets to call the shots. If you don't do what we say, we'll pull your funding. Oh, okay, I'll make sure it happens. And it's not just America that does it. Every country does it. All the financiers of a government or a prospective government, anyone that funds them gets their dues paid. That's the way the world is. Politicians just really fucking piss me off at the moment. Seriously, they are really pissing me off. It's like, for example, old BJ, Prime Minister of the UK. I voted for him because I believed he could deliver Brexit. And what's he gone and done? He's nuked our economy on top of Brexit. I knew that would have a tough few years at the start of Brexit for things to level out and watch the EU implode. And then we'd just scoop up what's left and win. That was the plan. That was the end game in my eyes. And then Corona happened. And with that, the excessive amounts of borrowing have gone up. We're now borrowing like we're in a major global conflict. And who is funding our borrowing? Well, I'll tell you how. The government are borrowing the government are borrowing not on my future taxes, but my daughter's future taxes, my grandkids' future taxes, and my great-great-grandchild's taxes, and maybe even my great-great-great-grandchild's taxes. It took nearly 200 years to finish paying back the money that was lent for all the money to be paid back that the government borrowed to free all the slaves within the empire. 200 years. How long will it take to pay back the money that we've borrowed to fund these ridiculous furlough schemes? And I say ridiculous because they're not a lifeline. It's the sword of Damocles just waiting and dangling, because most people that are on furlough will be made unemployed. The companies that are doing the furlough, they're keeping you on. They're keeping you on because the government's paying it, but it's very unlikely that they'll reopen their doors, especially after lockdown 3. Most of them spent most of their capital by the end of lockdown 1, let alone lockdown 2. How many companies are going to be left? How many small businesses are going to be left? Not many. It'll all be massive corporations and conglomerates that you'll be buying from. Small retail is dead, and it ain't going to come back, not to any kind of degree. But I digress. Where's all this money coming from? So, they've borrowed against future tax revenues. What else have they borrowed? Where else have they borrowed from? Well, they've obviously borrowed from other countries. And how can you borrow from other countries? Well, you go to a country with a lot of money, just sat around doing not much. Like China. Convenient really, isn't it? How the Chinese had the virus start there, and now they've got most countries borrowing something from them. And it's not just that. Governments go to very, very wealthy individuals and companies to loan them money. So if you wonder why big tech are censoring certain people, then that's because certain leaders in waiting, shall I say, I won't mention names or whatnot, we all know, but certain companies who helped suppress things during an election process only did so because they were getting their man in, their funding. Okay, we'll lend you all this money, we'll get you in, and you do us a favour, i.e. you give us more deregulation of the internet, like which one of your predecessors once did. So that's where America got most of their money from, even before a guy was elected. Then you got our government. Oh, our Chancellor Rishi Sunak. Oh, he was a wealthy boy before he became a politician. Then he married into one of the world's wealthiest families. The guy married into the Indian version of Amazon. Hundreds of billions of pounds that he could borrow, securing his family's long-term legacy. Okay, father-in-law, can you loan my government 10 billion for this month, and we'll add it onto the ledger. Oh, okay, how much are you going to get back for 10 billion? Okay, it's going to be 50 billion per 10 billion. Done. A legacy secured on debt from cronyism. Anyone that thinks that Rishi Sunak was on our side, you're mistaken. Rishi Sunak is only on Rishi Sunak's side, and it's not just his family. Big, massive transnational conglomerates have been loaning governments money as well. They get what they want. They get certain things deregulated the way how they want, and they'll lobby certain aspects as well, which the governments have to do so they can get their cash injection. Cronyism, politicians, they can all fuck off. This world's going to go to shit. It's going to get worse. You think you had it worse before Corona? That's just going to be considered a square dance. I'll make some predictions in the future, but hey, I can tell you now, this is only the beginning. If you like this podcast, we have another one called A Tribute to Men That Hate Their Jobs. This is an over-dramatised story channel where the narrator gets into daily mishaps in a job that he hates. The link is in the description. In addition, we also have a YouTube channel called The X Review, where I review and react to music videos. The link is also in the description. You can also follow us on Facebook. Just search for musterxmedia. And until next time guys, bye for now.